I am going to go out on a limb this week and talk about something that may or may not generate some thoughts and feelings from you listeners and watchers out there. If you've been reading anything I put out for a little while, you'll know that I don't have a lot of rules around eating and mealtime. Specifically, like I've never required that our kids have a no thank you bite, have to try something of the food that's put on the table. I don't require that they have to clean their plates. I don't have rules like that when it comes to mealtime. But I was thinking about it this weekend, and I do have a lot of expectations around mealtime and things that I want my kids to learn. And I thought I would talk about 5 of those sort of key, what I'm going to call expectations for my kids around family meals. Do eat most of our dinners, especially, and actually almost exclusively, it's family dinners that we eat together. Breakfast is a free for all. It's not kind of a free for all. It is. It is every man for himself or herself. And lunch, at school and work, obviously we're doing our own thing. And even on the weekends, it's rare that I put together an actual lunch, especially now that my kids are older. So dinner is the time when we sit down together. And there are some expectations that I and my husband have for our kids. Number 1, absolutely, without a doubt, hands down, top of the list. I expect my kids to chew with their mouths closed. And I realize that this is way more about me than it is about them. Chewing with their mouth open is my number 1 pet peeve. If you ask my kids, what is it that bugs your mom? They will tell you, chewing with your mouth open. Ever since when I remember being 10, a teenager, and getting mad at my brothers, for chewing with their mouths open. It drives me crazy. It is a sound that once I hear it, I can't unhear it. And then it is the only thing that I can focus on. And again, I recognize that this is more about me than it is about anybody else. But I want my kids to, I think they can, chew with their mouths closed. And if there are other people out in the world like me for whom that sound is so incredibly distracting, I just think, I can teach my kids to do that. I know that there are some cultures where, for example, slurping food or soup, it is a sign of respect. And I can respect that. In my house, that's not the case. And so I have, from day one with my kids, found ways to gently encourage them to eat with their mouths closed. Take it or leave it. That is number 1 paramount important for me. And related to this, although separate, but I'm not putting it as number 2. This is still related to number 1. It is using your teeth to take food off of silverware. What is that about? If it's too hot, blow on it like a normal person. And your lips give you great information about the temperature of your food. And if it's a salad, you don't need to use your teeth. You can use your lips. So anyway, using teeth to scrape food off of silverware also drives me crazy. And when I hear my kids do it, I absolutely do correct it gently, patiently, as much as possible. But I do correct it. So number 1, chewing with their mouths open. Number 2, and this one really stems more from my husband, although I happen to agree with it, but it drives him crazy, especially when he sees our kids doing it, which is the thing that I do is teach my kids to cut their food and eat small pieces of it rather than simply spearing it and then biting off of it. The number of times, especially our son, God love him, he's 13, who will just spear an entire huge something and just want to eat pieces of it off the fork rather than using his knife to cut it into reasonably bite-sized pieces. So we do encourage our kids. We provide all of the utensils needed, and we help encourage them to learn how to use their utensils properly. I feel like someday this is going to serve them really well. They're going to go to dinner with, their boss or their partner's parents or something where it might matter that they look like they can cut their food, like they've been raised to know how to use utensils. So we gently and patiently encourage them to cut their food before they eat it. Number 3, again, as I just suggested, we provide all of the necessary utensils for them to do so. I want them to know how to properly set the table. And I don't mean like a full, 25-piece place setting for every individual, but to know where the fork and knife and spoon and water cup and plate go when they set the table. Again, I think it is a simple thing that I can teach them that someday might serve them well, and it means I provide all of the utensils they need to cut their food. I discovered something in preparing for this. I always thought it was fork on the left side and then the spoon and the knife. And I always told myself the knife protects the spoon, so the spoon is closest to the plate. The knife protects the spoon, facing in, protecting the spoon, and the fork stayed in bed. Well, I was wrong. So, lesson learned. Fork on a napkin on the left side of the plate, and then the knife, and then the spoon. The idea being you place utensils, of course, in the order in which you will need them. And when people used to do this, we never do in our house. There was a soup course before the main meal, so you needed your soup spoon first. So maybe it's fine that I have taught my kids the wrong way to set a place, but I want them to know how to do that. All right. Number 4, this also is a rule that stems from my husband, and I agree, and it is probably something that is old and outdated, and someone is going to call me out on it, but still, it is a rule we have, a behavior we encourage in our house, and that is simply no hats at the dinner table. I want to see everybody's beautiful faces. And usually, yes, this tends to apply to my husband and son, who are the ones that generally are wearing hats. Try as I might to bring back, hats for women. I've been told that that time has passed. And so it's usually my husband and son who have to take their hats off. But anybody who is wearing a hat, hats off at the dinner table. And again, I feel like this is just, it's just good practice. And it's a sign of respect for the people around you. We are going to engage in conversation now. And you can see me. I'm sure all of these are things that are going to send my kids to therapy later in life. I'm just accepting that and moving on. Okay, number 5. Number 5. This is another big one for me. I really feel very strongly about this. I have big opinions about this. And you might think I'm judging you if you decide that you don't do this in your house, and I may or may not be. But number 5, I expect my kids to help clear the table when mealtime is over. We tend to also have the expectation in our house that whoever cooked does not need to be a part of helping to clean up all of the dishes, but generally we're all pitching in. And from the time that my kids were little, I have expected that they help us clear the table. My husband and I both work. We share in cooking responsibility. Generally, most often it's me that's cooking, but my husband does a fair amount of cooking as well. And our kids, yes, they have school, they have work that they are doing that is their work. But I have spent time, my husband has spent time preparing a meal for you. And you can respect that effort, even if you hated the meal, by helping us clear the dishes. As they've gotten older, they also are expected to put them into the dishwasher. They're expected to help put away any leftovers that we are keeping, to do a full sweep of the kitchen and the dining table, to clean up from a meal. I fully expect them to participate in that. And I know someone is going to ask me, seriously, when they were little, even when they were little, you had them do this? Didn't they break dishes? 110%. Dishes have been broken, but not just by my kids, also by me. I mean, I have broken dishes taking them out of the dishwasher and hitting them on the side of the countertop. For me, it has been more important that I teach my kids that they are going to be a part of this process of mealtime than I have been so precious about the dishes that I have. We just have plain white porcelain dishes that can easily be replaced. I don't care as much about that as I do about getting my kids to participate. And again, I feel like this is a small thing I can teach my kids. They are going to go to a friend's house someday, and when dinner is over, I hope They will clear their plate. And those parents, my kids' friends' parents, are going to think that I have worked parenting magic on them. What did you do? He cleared his plate after dinner. Oh my God. So I hope that that happens. I also hope that as they go out into the world as adults and have roommates or go off to college or have a partner, and roommates beyond, that they recognize and respect the effort that someone has put into serving them food and that they participate in helping to clean up. And again, a lot of this comes from me. For me, I don't feel relaxed until the kitchen is clean. In our old house and our current house, the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room are all one giant space. We spend so much time in it. And when that is a mess, I don't feel relaxed. So some of that, again, is on me. But I really do appreciate that everyone is pitching in. And I think it is a sign of respect. And judge me all you want for requiring my kids to participate. But it is very important for me. All right, that's what I've got for you this week. I would love to know what you require or hope for your kids. What are you teaching them? What kinds of expectations do you have around mealtime? I would love to hear them. All right, see you next time.